Pooh versus Bambi, issue number 2 from Zenescope. This series is freaking fantastic. I did a review for issue number 1, and it was awesome. It's basically kind of what you see from a bunch of other Disney characters that have gone in public domain. Only instead of making this into a horror, they basically took the Winnie the Pooh universe, as well as Bambi, and made it into a over-the-top action series. This is basically like an Arnold 80s action flick, but with Winnie the Pooh characters. And it's just so over the top that it falls back into comedy, and it is fantastic. So yeah, just a super quick recap. Pooh Bear, Bambi, as well as other like Winnie the Pooh characters like Owl, Eeyore, Tigger, stuff like that. They belong to a special forces unit that was being run by General Christopher Robin. And they were going on the secret mission where it turns out Bambi discovered their origins, that they were actually regular animals that were kidnapped and stolen from their family, mutated with the special DNA gene to turn into humanoid creatures so that the government can brainwash them into becoming soldiers. And so Bambi like fought against that, demanded that Pooh joined him. Pooh Bear refused. Pooh Bear was forced to shoot Bambi in the head and kill him. And then as they were leaving, they realized that the government was going to double cross them. And so they escaped, and all the rest of the squad went their separate ways. And then in the end of the last issue, a squad run by Piglets comes up and discovers Pooh Bear and basically takes him to Christopher Robin. And we start off this issue with the flashback where we see Pooh Bear and Bambi, and they're on this bridge. And Bambi's like, hey, there's this game I just discovered. You want to play it with me? And the game is basically the game from Winnie the Pooh, where you take 2 sticks, you throw it on one side of the bridge, and then you see which stick comes out first on the other side. And so they're playing this game, but before the sticks come out the other side, General Robin calls for Pooh Bear, and Pooh Bear leaves. And Bambi's kind of like upset at the fact that rather than finishing their game, Pooh Bear like immediately rushes over to Christopher Robin. Like Christopher Robin is basically dad to Pooh Bear, and Pooh Bear always puts Christopher Robin like on the top tier, and will like ignore everybody else in favor of Christopher Robin. So yeah, we get that. And then we cut to the present day where Pooh Bear is being taken to a military base where he's being flanked by Piglet's men, who are not too happy with Pooh Bear because Pooh Bear beat the crap out of them in the last issue. Piglet's not a fan of Pooh Bear either because, again, he beat the crap out of her squad as well as her in the last issue. And that's when General Robin shows up and basically gives like a briefing on the mission. First, he explains why the name Piglet. And her name is actually Penelope Williams, but she leads a squad that's called the Pigpen. And because of that, they call her Piglet as a nickname. So for anyone who's like wondering why is she named Piglet when she's a human, that's why. They basically discovered that Tigger went back to the government not too long ago. She was not content with living the quiet life, and she basically wanted to become a soldier again. And we find out that Tigger is actually not a tiger that was transformed into this humanoid anthropomorphic creature. Instead, she is a were-tiger. So she has a human form as well as a tiger form. They decided, okay, we'll bring Tigger back onto the task force. Because she wasn't like manipulated with DNA, the government isn't as opposed to her as they are to like Pooh Bear and the rest of his friends. And so they tasked her with finding this scientist named Candace Gardner, aka Kanga. So we even see like Kanga with a baby kangaroo. So yeah, Kanga was one of the scientists who was like messing with the DNA, who like created the DNA that turned Pooh Bear and all his friends into the anthropomorphic creatures. And so Kanga like went off the grid, and they were able to find where she's at, and they sent Tigger down there, and they've lost communication with Tigger. So Pooh Bear is like, I'll do it. Like, Tigger is one of my friends. We see them like a flashback, and it kind of seems almost hint that maybe there might be a romantic thing going on between Pooh Bear and Tigger. I don't know, but like we see them like goofing off together. They seem to be close. He even says that like they were inseparable. Basically, like the trio of Pooh Bear, Tigger, and Bambi. So whether or not there was like a romance thing going on, I don't know. Kind of leaning towards possibly yes. So yeah, Pooh Bear goes onto the plane with Piglet and the rest of her squad. The plane gets hit with the missile. Pooh Bear opens up the hatch on the plane and tells everyone, we got to get off this right now, otherwise we're all going to die. Because Piglet wants to stay behind because she's like, we're only a few minutes from the drop zone. If we wait, we'll drop exactly where we need to. But Pooh Bear's like, no, we got to go now, otherwise this plane's not going to last for a couple of minutes. And he's right. As soon as they jump out, the plane explodes. And that's when they get attacked by humanoid geese. It's basically like these flying humanoid geese or ducks. I don't know exactly what they are, but they're attacking the squad and basically killing them in the air, ripping up their parachutes. Piglet ends up falling and she lands in this spider web where she sees like one of her other squad mates who's basically being infected by the spider. And the spider is going to go and kill Piglet when Pooh Bear shows up and just beats the ever-loving crap out of this spider, rips off his legs, and just starts beating it to death with its own legs. And yeah, he rips Piglet out of the web and starts running. And as he's running, Piglet's like shooting at the spiders behind her. They jump off of a waterfall where they end up like flowing downstream just outside of the building that they need to go to. And it looks like Piglet has warmed up to Pooh Bear because of this. Like before, where she like hated his guts and was willing to like shoot him any like at the slightest hint that he might try to go AWOL. Now she's like thanking him, offering her gun and stuff like that, and willing to follow his orders. I will say that this little moment feels a bit too rushed, but then again, Zenescope is trying to tell a story within 3 issues, so some things have to be rushed a little bit more. So I can kind of understand that. I do kind of wish that the relationship between Pooh Bear and Piglet would take a little bit longer. And by relationship, I don't mean romantic in any way. I just mean how they went from enemies that have to reluctantly work together to now being a little bit more trusting of each other. I wish that was built up a little bit more, but yeah, whatever. So they sneak into the base. They see some more anthropomorphic creatures in tubes. All of them appear to be, well, the majority of them appear to be elephants. I wonder if these are supposed to be like heffalumps. They're all like elephants except for like one, which looks kind of like a bull. I wonder if these are going to be heffalumps. Can you imagine if we're going to see heffalumps and woozles in this? That'd be awesome. But they go into this room because basically Pooh Bear is like, we got to shut this thing down. Like they're creating more of us. We can't let that happen. We got to shut it down. And the last time when I was in a building like this, the room to shut it down was through this door. So they go through the door, but rather than being the computer room to shut down the tubes, instead it looks like a fighting pit. And up top we see Kanga, who has apparently injected the DNA into herself. So now she's like a kangaroo anthropomorphic creature. And she has her quote-unquote son, Roo, who basically is an anthropomorphic kangaroo on steroids. And yeah, they started fighting. So we basically get steroid Roo versus overweight Pooh Bear and Piglet battling it out to the death. And yeah, it's freaking hilarious and fantastic. This series has everything. It's got steroid kangaroos. It's got gender bent Tigger. It's got sexy Piglet. Freaking NTR. For anyone out there who's familiar with manga and manga terms, it's got NTR. It's got everything. This series is so over the top and stupid, and it's freaking glorious. I love it. This is like fantastic. This is like one of my favorite things that I've read recently. It's amazing because it basically, I don't want to say it doesn't take anything serious. It's kind of like when South Park has its quote unquote serious moments, but the serious moments are so over the top that it becomes comedy. That's basically what this series is. There's no like looking at the camera and winking. There's no like parody moment. It's basically we're gonna have this super serious story, but we're gonna make it with Winnie the Pooh characters, and that's where the comedy comes in. This is so much of like a satire off of the super macho 1980s action flicks that it becomes a comedy because we're just taking that and we're just going over the top with it. And I love it. It's fantastic. Obviously, there's a little bit more, but I'm not going to spoil everything. But this is an amazing series. I'm really sad and bummed out that we're only going to get one more issue. Like, this is one of those series that it deserves more issues. Like, 3 is not enough. I want more. So I'm hoping that we'll get more mini runs after the 3 issues. Like, we can have, you know, Pooh Bear versus whatever the next public domain character is or something. Assuming that Pooh Bear lives in this. I don't know. Well, I guess we'll find out in the next issue. But I want more of this. This is fantastic. Like, 3 issues is not going to be enough for me. So yeah, I highly recommend checking it out. The first 2 issues have been freaking glorious. So yeah, this is like, there's nothing here that I can really complain about. I love everything about this. This is fantastic. It's just, it's so over the top stupid, and I love it because it's just amazing at the same time. It's so stupid that it becomes amazing. So yeah, I'm just kind of rambling at this point. I highly recommend checking the series out. That's Pooh versus Bambi issue number 2. Fantastic series, fantastic issue. And yeah, I can't wait to see the next issue. Hopefully it ends on the good note, and hopefully we're going to get more after that. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you next time. Take care. Later. Thank you for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you didn't, I still want to thank you for watching it this far, and I hope the next one is more to your liking. With that said, thank you once again, and I hope you guys and gals have a good one. Later.